Hi, I'm Tallis Barker from waterfasting.org, and I'd like to talk about using fasting as a means for losing weight. Fasting burns fat, right? So it makes complete sense that fasting should be a good means to lose weight. You burn fat, you lose weight. There's actually been a long tradition of using fasting for this. Going back to the 1800s already, people were using long extended fasts under medical supervision in order to lose large amounts of weight. Then again, in the 1960s, there was a kind of resurgence of again using these long extended fasts to lose a lot of weight. Since then, it's gone a little bit out of fashion. Unfortunately, a couple of people actually died on these fasts. We know a lot more about the do's and don'ts at this point of long extended fasts. But in principle, there's no reason why you shouldn't use a fast to lose weight. The thing, though, is that you shouldn't just jump in and decide, I'm going to do a massive long fast, or even for that matter, a shorter fast, without going through potential pitfalls along the way. And I'd like to talk about a few of them here today. The first issue to consider is the amount of weight that you'd like to lose. Approximately, and I'm going to give you a very roundabout figure which varies a lot from person to person, but in general, over the beginning of a fast, you can expect to lose approximately 1 pound per day. So this means that if you want to lose 10 pounds, you need to do a 10-day fast. After this point, the body becomes more efficient in burning fat. So if you want to lose 20 pounds, you're probably going to need somewhere in the region of about 25 days to do this. There does come a point where you simply can't get more and more efficient forever and ever, and that there is a bottom line weight loss beyond a certain point, which varies quite a lot from person to person, but it's most likely going to be under 1 pound per day. So let's say, suppose you want to lose 30 pounds. Most likely, you're going to need a solid 40-day fast in order to accomplish this. Again, it varies from person to person, but this is a totally fair enough ballpark figure. If you want to lose more than 30 pounds, obviously, you're talking about even longer fasts. And there does come a point where, let's say you want to lose 50 pounds. At that point, you're talking about 70, maybe 80 days. This is reaching the length of fast at which you really need to be careful, because there does come a point where, especially if you're overweight, you run risks of electrolyte imbalance. If you're morbidly obese, you also run a risk of running out of muscle tissue. You do burn a small amount of muscle tissue in order to sustain ketosis. And if you run out of muscle before you run out of fat, you're going to run into big problems. So the point is that if you really need to lose a lot of weight, a fast in itself is probably not going to be enough. A fast is going to lose you weight, but in the end, it's your diet which is going to keep the weight off after a fast. And it's absolutely crucial to take this into consideration. If you want to sustain your weight loss, you're going to have to change the diet that you had been on before the fast. Otherwise, you're just going to gradually reaccumulate the weight, and that's not really what you're after. So the thing is, are you really ready to give up your previous diet? Maybe, maybe not. It's something definitely worth thinking about. And if you are, then it's definitely worth planning out what that diet is going to be before you fast. There are a million different diets out there in the world today, from veganism to keto-type diets. A lot of them have benefits here, but the most important thing is that it needs to be something which is going to work for you. And I mean this in two ways. One, that it is going to keep the weight off, and number two, that it's sustainable in the sense that you're happy to eat this diet over the long term. So I would really recommend trying out whatever diet you plan on moving into after the fast before you do your fast in the first place. In addition to this, there's another problem in terms of diet after the fast, and that is that fasting enables your body to work more efficiently in its digestion. Quite simply, this means that you won't need so many calories in order to sustain your weight as you did before the fast. In other words, if you return to eating the same number of calories after the fast, you're actually going to gain weight compared to your pre-fast weight because you're just digesting more efficiently. And on top of that, there's also a real tendency to want to eat more after a fast. You've deprived yourself. You've not been eating during a fast. It's only human to want to compensate for this. And a lot of people have real trouble with this. So if you're thinking about taking a fast to reduce your weight, you need to be prepared for this well in advance and prepare yourself psychologically. In addition to the importance of having a sustainable, lower calorie diet after the fast, there's another thing you need to take into consideration: exercise. I would really recommend anybody who is using a fast to lose weight to consider some kind of exercise program after their fast. Now, there is two reasons for this mainly. One is obviously exercising burns calories. Burning calories are going to help to prevent weight from jumping back on you after a fast. Not only that, but especially a sustainable exercise program means that you're eventually going to raise your metabolic rate. This means that your baseline resting consumption of calories will increase. Exercising increases metabolic rate, so even if you're doing nothing, you're burning more calories than someone who doesn't exercise. And this is another way, again, to help keep the pounds off after a fast. What to do in terms of what kind of exercises are good? Well, in the end, I would suggest some kind of a cardio is always useful, and whether that simply means walking, that's great. Running, swimming, anything like that is even better. But if all you're really capable of is walking, then do it. That's a big start. And of course, there's a lot of increasing research to show that not only is cardiovascular important, but some kind of strength training is also very useful, especially as people move into older age, just to keep good health. Okay, so for me, sustainable weight loss is achieved through three pillars: fasting, diet, and exercise. Fasting is not enough on its own. Having said that, there's also a very important issue we need to take into consideration, both in terms of the fast itself as well as the diet which is going to follow the fast. And that is the issue of food addictions. Overweight is an issue of eating badly, really. And eating badly is really an issue of food addiction. What does this mean? Physically, it means addictions to sugar, perhaps to meat. And through those cravings, we just eat more than we should. There's a deeper level of food addiction here as well, and that's on a kind of emotional, psychological level. We eat not just to sustain ourselves physically, but the vast majority of people eat for comfort. The vast majority of people eat in order, perhaps as a replacement for love, which they're not getting from other sources. So eating goes well beyond simply nourishing our bodies. And in fasting, we're confronted with that, very much so. So the first thing is, are you really ready to let your addictions go? Are you ready to give up sugar? Are you ready to give up, to a degree, eating for comfort? On top of that, if you are ready and you can let go of these addictions, the next question is, are you ready to face whatever the subconscious urge is underlying the craving? If you're eating for comfort, perhaps there's an element of pain in your life which you're trying to comfort. These kinds of things will come back during the fast, and it's very important to know this, because if you're not ready to deal with these psychological issues underlying the emotional addiction to food and the physical addiction to food, then you're going to have a very tough time. In addition to this, people with more serious eating disorders face an even greater challenge, because obviously the addictions in their case are much more deeply set. And as a result, fasting is a double-edged sword. Yes, fasting can break those addictions, but if you're not careful, you can end up facing the addictions and sliding back. So instead of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, it becomes exactly the opposite. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And those addictions just simply reinforce themselves. People with eating disorders with classifiable names like anorexia, bulimia, or anything else obviously face the hardest situation here. But the fact is, we all ultimately suffer from eating disorders. We all suffer from food addictions. We all suffer from an unnecessary attachment to food. So it's important that we all realize this if we're going to consider using fasting as a tool to lose weight. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is a rocky road, definitely. And it's very much worth thinking about all of these issues in order to know what you're getting into, truly, before you begin a fast in order to lose weight.